What's up everyone, 6Bitty here, and today we have a special video because we are going to cover everything we know so far about the new EA PGA Tour Road to the Masters game that's set to release spring of 2023. We will be talking about the exact release date, features, gameplay, playable pros, and really so much stuff. Because with us we have a special guest. We have Daniel Rahmans, a journalist who was invited to the EA PGA Tour Preview event about a week ago. So Daniel saw gameplay, got a lot of information on the game about all the courses, online features, cosmetics. I mean, we have so much information to cover today, so keep that in mind. This is uncut. You are going to see it all in this video. I don't want to cut anything out because I want this video to be a compilation of everything we know as of January 19th, 2023. So today, big thank you to Daniel for coming on to the channel here on Gamerability. Thank you for being here, Daniel.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, yeah, it's always a pleasure. And everybody out there, I will be putting Daniel's links in the descriptions so that you can follow him on social media, Twitch, YouTube, all the social outlets that Daniel is at, and also on his articles that he's writing for this game. If you get some enjoyment on this video, drop a like, it really helps, and subscribe to stay up to date on all things EA PGA Tour leading up to the game's launch, which we're going to get into right now. So here we go. First things off, the big question that everybody has is when is this game releasing and for what platforms? So EA PGA Tour is releasing on March 24th, 2023 for next-gen consoles only. So PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via the EA app, Steam, and the Epic Game Store. Now, on top of that, there is early access 3 days before. If you have the deluxe edition, you get to play it on March 21st, 2023, and there's an EA Access trial for EA Play members that will start on that same day. EA Play members will get 10 hours to play the game before they choose to buy it or not. So that starts on March 21st, 2023. So I'm so excited we have a concrete release date a few weeks before the Masters. But Daniel was at the preview event. Daniel saw the gameplay. He got all the details. So now, first off, Daniel, before we get into features, courses, playable pros, gameplay, online, everything like that, what was your overall impressions and thoughts on the game following the event?
Well, I thought it looked great. The graphics look cool. The gameplay, from what I could see, because I only got a demo of the developers playing it, but from what I could see, the gameplay looked realistic. The courses that they have are looking crisp and nice. So yeah, I think we have a genuine competitor for the 2K game, actually.
Yeah, that's so exciting. And I know we're going to get into the specifics of things you liked and things you enjoyed. But after interviewing with you and learning more about this game, I'm really hyped for this game with what it's bringing. But
Me too. Yeah.
Getting into what features and game modes are included at launch. I know this is a long one and kind of a long question, but what can you give us an idea of what's in the game? What are the features at launch?
Yes. First of all, we have a career mode, obviously. And that's something like a good career mode is something that EA told me that's what people want the most, besides playing the majors, obviously. What's good about this career mode to me is that it's not just the PGA Tour. But you can actually play amateur championships. You can start your career as an amateur in this game and develop your player over multiple seasons to eventually go to play the actual PGA Tour and play Masters. So, well, there's the Corn Ferry Tour, obviously. There's several other mini tours or just below the PGA Tour that you can play. There's ranked matchmaking, which is a big thing, I think. I know you would like the ranked matchmaking, Ryan. You can obviously just play courses whenever you want. There's 30 courses in the game. I know we'll touch on that later, that you can just play at any time. There's customizable clubs and balls. You can have a custom golf bag, which is a nice addition to what we already have in the other golf game that we play. What else is there? They were talking about a game mode where you can play with 16 players at the same time. Now, I know that sounds a little bit familiar because it sounds like speed golf, like the Divot Derby that we have in the 2K game. But so yeah, you can just invite your friends and have 16 people at the same time playing a round of golf, but it's not actually set as a speed golf thing. It's just a regular round, but you just, there's 16 people that can take a shot, which is a fun thing. That's amazing. I think.
Yeah.
I can see some nice stream content there. What I also saw, let's take a look. I have my notes here.
One thing that I thought was one thing you said 40 brand partners for licensed club and apparel was something that you listed in your notes. Did they Did they touch on some specifics of the brands that they had, or more just list that they had 40?
Well, it's all the major brands.
Okay.
So you would expect Callaway, Titleist, TaylorMade, like the big golf brands are there. But there's a lot of brands that aren't necessarily like the big golf brands that are associated with the game as well.
Yeah.
I don't have the list here, actually.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
That's bad on my part.
No, that's but I mean, major golf.
Yeah,
brands.
but it's a huge list. It's a huge list. But all the brands that you would expect to be in the game are in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. What else is there in terms of the features? There's multiplayer mode online, social modes offline, so you can play offline with your friends. There's competitive mode, ranked matchmaking. I did that. There will be tournaments actually with a limited time to play them, and there will be a global leaderboard, and there will actually be a payout in ranked points.
Very cool.
Yeah. And obviously around the majors, so when the Masters or the Open or the PGA Championship are played, they will have like featured events around it. So they'll be coming with some like not time sensitive, but like timed content that appears around real life events.
That's really cool. And one of the things was challenges. So challenges was something that I saw to where it's a kind of a live update, a server side live update of different challenges throughout the PGA Tour season. Can you touch on that a little bit more?
Well, they will base that on real life events. So if something happens on the PGA Tour, I can imagine they will go and upload a challenge that touches on that. So maybe, I don't know. This is me just fantasizing a little bit, but let's say somebody hit 2 holes in one in one event. I can imagine they would go and come up with a challenge that does exactly that. Challenges you to hit multiple holes in one in a single event. If somebody's I don't know, just made the cut in an event and then turns out winning it, that could be one. This is just me fantasizing a little bit, but I think we'll see a lot of fun stuff that way.
Yeah, that sounds amazing to me. When I saw that, that's something I wasn't expecting to see. There's a lot of stuff I think I wasn't expecting to see that that I have seen so far, and challenges was one of them. I expected to have something, but that seems really cool to actually have to play through scenarios.
And this is something that EA has done before. For instance, in their Formula One game, you'll see events like that come up, and they base that off real life events too.
Very true. And this is a good point to mention, everybody. The screenshots you're seeing in the background, I took those screenshots from the gameplay trailer, the teaser trailer that they posted in 2022. And some of the photos are actually from the preview event that Daniel was provided and did provide. So thank you to Daniel for that. So that's what you're seeing there in the background. So another thing I wanted to touch on, which is another gameplay feature. When I think of 2K has, you can fit your clubs. And I notice you said there's a blueprint system to fit clubs and customize gear. Is that all did they show that? Did they talk about it? Or did they just kind of say you will be able to customize your clubs and attributes, but more later?
That is basically what they said. The gameplay demo that we got was just one hole on Augusta National. Okay. So it was very short, and we had very little time to ask questions afterwards. But what I did get from that, I'm just going over my notes here, is that I think it will be somewhat like what we know already from the 2K23 game. So the cosmetics of the clubs, that's where the brands come in. It's purely cosmetic. So a Callaway club will not have different features compared to a TaylorMade club. And the fittings, as we call them now, that will actually determine how you play the game. But I got the feeling that that's more related to how you develop your golfer.
Okay.
Than how you set up your club set. So it seems like it's a little more in depth than what we got in the 2K game. But yeah, I didn't get a proper demonstration of that. So that's still a little bit, an enigma.
Yeah. That's exciting to see. I'm sure we'll find out more leading up to launch. Maybe they do a career deep dive or my player deep dive, something in that category. But it's good to just know that it is a feature and there will be some type of customization, not only for your skills and attributes, but also
and what they did say is that because they have a multiple season career mode, they said that you'll develop your player in a certain way, and the way they built the system is that no player should be the same after playing like multiple seasons. So the game and you learn how to play the game of golf, virtual golf, in a certain way, and it's that customizable that I will never play the same way that you do.
Yep.
At least that's what they told me.
Okay. All right, so now we will get to, everybody, I know you probably already have questions on other things, other features, so such as a course designer and whether there's online tournament societies, and we will get there to those questions. So don't go away. Got plenty more coming your all's way. But this brings us to a big question I think I have for any EA golf game, or really any EA game. So you talked about the gameplay features there, or like the different game modes in the game. And did they say there's plans for a season pass, a battle pass, a clubhouse pass, whatever you want to call it, or paid DLC courses in this event? Was there any mention of any type of paid or free DLC?
They didn't really touch on whether it's paid or not.
Okay.
They did say that they will come up with new content later on. Knowing EA, I can say with 99% certainty that will not all be free.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
and
we know Electronic Arts.
Yeah, and that's my prediction as well, is that there will be paid content down the road. That's just kind of something that I'm predicting. I know we don't know that so far, and we can't touch on that specifically, but
The
just
the
that's
courses though, the courses they said they promised the courses would be free at least.
okay.
That's what I made up of what they said. So
That's
I don't
huge.
expect the courses to be paid.
Okay.
What I can imagine is like stuff like clubs or
Okay.
clothes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge. And I think to me, the paid DLC courses can separate the player base, especially in online modes and stuff like that. If that is true, that the DLC courses will be free updates, that's massive. I'm good with there's cosmetics that, clubhouse passes, whatever you want to call it, as long as they're
Hmm.
not a lot of pay to win, and we may get into that later. But moving on to the gameplay. You saw the gameplay demo. They talked a lot about gameplay. Before we get into what courses and pros and stuff, a lot of people have received so many questions. Gameplay, right? So can you give us your thoughts on the gameplay? We've heard mentions of Shotlink data, Trackman data being used in the game to create an authentic swing, and just authentic trajectory and everything like that of the pros. You saw one hole, but I know they also talked about a lot of stuff. Can you give
Yes.
us the rundown?
Yeah, so any golfer will know Trackman probably. That's the system, the radar system that tracks your shot. The Shotlink system is something that the PGA Tour has used since 2001, and it's a really big database of every shot that they ever recorded with this system since 2001. That gives EA a tremendous amount of data on ball flight, on the rollout,
Yeah.
any like physics in the actual golf game, and they use all that data to emulate actual physics. So again, this is what they said in a marketing event,
Yeah.
so we'll still have to see how it turns out. But apparently, or supposedly, this game has the most realistic ball physics and most realistic swing mechanics of all golf games that have ever been published. Now, what they said is, for instance, Scotty Scheffler is one of the people in the game, one of the players in the game. Scotty Scheffler will have a different swing. His ball flight will be different from any other player in the game. And it will be true to his real life swing movement, to his real life ball flights. And I think that's huge. I mean, we've seen some customization in the 2K game. Tiger Woods has a different swing than Tony Finau has, for instance. But I think that's all cosmetic. And EA said that like Scotty Scheffler, Tony Finau is actually also in the EA game. They have different ball flight, and throughout your career, if you play the career mode, you will develop your own ball flight. I don't know exactly how that works,
Okay.
but I think they'll kind of work with real life data and then say, okay, well, if you do this and that, and you
Yeah.
focus on several elements other than different elements than another player, your ball flights will be more or less like this, and that will fine tune and fine tune and fine tune until you have your own way, your own customized way of working your way through courses. And what they said is that also when you have this typical way of playing, it will determine how you have to think your way through courses. So what I get from that is that course management becomes an important thing at a certain point in time too. Uh, will you play that high shot with a lot of spin that allows you to go over the bunkers? Or do you need to take a different route that allows you to roll up a little bit more?
Yeah.
And that's something that I really like and that I've missed in golf games over the last years is that, for instance, I'm a European golfer. I play links courses more than the really soft ones where you can play target golf more. So I am used to my balls landing a little bit earlier and rolling out more. I would love it if the game actually allows me to play that type of golf
Yeah.
more than I've been able to over the last years.
Yeah. Now, as far so Now moving on to the gameplay demo that you saw. So you
Hmm.
saw, some golf shots. What golfer were they playing as in the demo? Were they playing as a my player or were they playing as a pro?
Yeah, as a my player. They
My
were
player.
both playing
Okay.
as my player. Yeah.
So now, with regards to the gameplay, I've been playing the EA sports games, ever since I was little. I played all of them. And there was always that arcade feel or the option to add power during your shot and also add spin while the ball was in the air. I know you could turn off those functions, but was that something that you spotted in the gameplay demo that you saw?
So when the developers talked about the gameplay, they really emphasized the realism. But during their little one-hole demonstration of the gameplay, I could see that little thingy in the HUD, that little square in the HUD where you see the way the ball spins, and that is something that reminded me of the old games, the old EA
Yeah.
games, where you could actually add spin after your swing. They didn't say anything about it,
Okay.
so I'm not sure if that's still in there. What I
Okay.
did see is that one of the players said proudly, actually, okay, so let me just add some boost to this tee shot, and then his shot went 20, 30 yards further than the other guy.
Okay.
Um, so that felt a little bit arcadey to me,
Okay.
actually. So yeah, I'm afraid we'll see some arcadey stuff.
Yep.
I'm a little bit reserved on this, or
Okay.
even a little bit negative, because I like realistic golf games.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's not too much arcadey stuff in there. If there is, I'm hoping we can turn it off, because
Yeah.
I would like to play golf like you can play golf in real life. Yeah, so I'm afraid there is some arcade to it.
Okay. In which, that's what I expect. But like you, I would like to see the option to play how you want to. If you want to play True Sim, play True Sim. If you want to be able to do the spin the way that it was classically in the old games for the nostalgia feel or just to have fun, I like that it's there. But it would be cool, especially when you get into ranked matchmaking and you get into these other modes. Adding spin during the shot in those modes could be a little different story, right, from the true realism players.
Yes, but there's something that's a little bit incoherent to me if you go to such great lengths to add realism, to have Shotlink and Trackman and everything,
Yeah.
to create the swing mechanics that are true to life, and then after you have that very realistic swing, you push a button to add spin. That seems a little bit off to me, but
Yeah.
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 If it's there, it's there, and if we can turn it off, yay!
Yeah. Did you see shot shaping at all? Draw, fade? Did you see different, how
Yes,
many
yes,
shots,
yes.
different shot types?
There's a lot of different shot types.
Okay.
We are right now used to having like 5 or 6
Yep.
different shot types. There's a lot more, actually. There's low cut and baby draw. I don't know how many shot types there
Yeah.
there
Okay.
there are, but you will be able to play golf the way you want it.
Okay. Yeah, and something that stuck out to me from the some of the stuff you sent me was in the career mode. It said you can unlock up to like 20 shot types, and like
Oh, that's right.
as you play, you can get
Yeah.
more shot types in the career. You could like really feel like you're progressing your character and learning new swings. But when I saw 20 shot types, my eyes lit up. Like, as a big golf fan, you watch golf, you see all these, whether it's a low cut or these different shots, like
Yeah.
being able to recreate those from your my player standpoint, or being able to do that as a playable pro, like playing as Jordan Spieth and hitting like Jordan Spieth, playing as these, and like that gets me fired up. It really does.
Yeah. I'm so glad I sent you the notes. You know more than me.
Sometimes I have good
Just
memory, right?
literally looking at that note right now. I could have just said that, but okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So now, keep in mind, everybody, what's important to note as well. This is preview build. This is subject to change. Think of anything's in gaming. A big example is Cyberpunk 2077. What you see in marketing, what you see before the game, not always makes the final cut, and there could be changes. So keep that in mind. We're not saying that these are set in stone. Even though they announced them, they're likely to be, all these features are likely to be in there, but you never know. Anything can happen in game development. But moving on, there are 30 official courses in this game at launch. To put that in perspective, their last game, Rory McIlroy, had at launch about 8 courses. With paid DLC, you could get that to like 10, and they never really got a lot of courses. So this 30 courses. Now, Daniel, tell us what courses you actually found out about. Daniel knows all the courses. So here we go.
Yes. This time I will actually look at my notes. So here we go. Augusta National, St. Andrews Old Course, Pebble Beach, the Country Club, Southern Hills, TPC Sawgrass, Evian Resort, East Lake, Wilmington Country Club, TPC Boston. Then there's one that's obscured by the play button here. Let me just, TPC Southwind, Teeth of the Dog, TPC Scottsdale, Tara Edie, Whistling Straits, the Ocean Course at Kiowa Island, Chambers Bay, Wolf Creek, Liberty National, Bay Hill, Riviera Country Club, PGA West, Quail Hollow, Torrey Pines, Banff Springs, Top of the Rock, the par 3 course that we also have in 2K, Bandon Dunes, and Harbortown.
Wow.
That's what I got right in front of me here.
That is a that is an, I mean, when I look at that, like, that is almost a, when you think of a next gen golf game with next gen graphics. I know we'll touch on the graphics in a minute, but that's a dream course list right there from my standpoint. I don't know. I mean, I'm not affiliated in any way with, like, this is not an affiliated video. I'm not affiliated with EA. Neither is Daniel. So I know we can speak freely about this stuff, but to me, when I saw that course list, my eyes lit up. That's a lot of courses compared to the last games. Like, wow.
Yeah. Being from Europe, I personally think this list is a little US skewed, but yeah, most of the courses on this list are great. I'm really happy to see St. Andrews, the old course, on there. I've been there. It's such an amazing course, and I will be very glad to be able to play that with all the detail that I saw in the preview. Yeah, I'm definitely pumped about this.
Yeah. And just another thing to mention here, everybody, the game is set to feature all past major tournament courses from the 2021 and 2022 seasons, as well as 2023 major courses, but those courses will be releasing at post-launch. So the current Tour 2023 courses will be releasing later, and all the major championship courses. So they will be in the game, though.
True. Yeah.
So you mentioned, Daniel, you saw specifics of the courses and saw you got kind of the full rundown of how they designed these courses, but also how they play differently. Can you talk to us more about what you saw at the preview event in their design, authenticity, different gameplay, the characteristics of them? I know that's a long question, but...
No, but and it's going to be a long answer, but there's so many aspects to this. So I'll chop it up into 2 parts, the graphics part and the way the courses play. Starting with the graphics part. So their aim was to give you the feeling, and I mean, this is the aim of any developer that creates a golf game, but to give you the feeling that you're actually on the tee on one of those courses. So they went into great detail with this. They had low-flying helicopters. They had drones flying over the courses. They hired, I think, like 50 photographers around the world to go and take pictures of, like, each little bush, the azaleas at Augusta, the shrubs at St. Andrews, to be sure that the placement of their planting was correct. All the different undulations on the fairways at St. Andrews, all of that was not only laser mapped by the low-flying helicopter, but also photographed from ground's perspective. So from each spot of the course, they look, okay, does this actually look the same as the actual course from this perspective? I think they did it well. I mean, I haven't played the game, but if this turns out the way they presented it, that will be awesome, because the level of detail that I saw also on like the tiny little things, like what is right next to you on the tee, the presentation of different courses between your shots. If you're in a specific bunker on St. Andrews, that will trigger the commentary to tell what you call life stories about that bunker, something that might have happened in the past in a major tournament. They will tell something about that. I think that's great. So yeah, I think graphics wise, what I've seen, also the screenshots that I sent you, it looks awesome. The rock work on Pebble Beach is all true to life. The azaleas on Augusta are placed exactly where they are in real life, and they not only used photographs for that, but they actually had they got this planting scheme from the greenskeepers, the groundsmen at Augusta, that actually told them exactly which tree is where, which plant is where, which flower is where. And they worked according to that planting scheme. It's just that they went into so much detail with that. Now, that's the graphics side, and it looks awesome. The gameplay side, it makes total sense for a golfer that a ball in the rough at Augusta will react differently upon landing than a ball that lands on the firm grounds of St. Andrews. I mean, that is, yeah, that's a fact. That the ground is different. It's one is soft, one is firm. It will react differently, but the grass types are also different. I mean, American grass types are usually thicker and more sticky than the grass types that we have in Europe on our golf courses. So that will affect the way the ball rolls out, the way it bounces, everything. That is something that they added in all those 30 courses. They went to those courses. They checked, how does a ball react to the soil, to the grass type? How does it behave in a bunker? How does it behave coming out of a bunker? All that is custom made for each course. And that is something that is, well, that's mind-blowing to me, because that takes so much time and so much effort to do that right. And I think if this turns out to work the way they intended it to, that is going to be ultra realistic. And that is going to be so different from what we know in golf game physics right now, because right now we can set firmness and rollout, but that's about it. That is something that I'm really looking forward to, actually.
Yeah, that sounds really cool, especially how each course, theoretically on paper, from the marketing perspective, right, is supposed to play unique. Until we get our hands on, we won't know the exacts, but I know you saw some of the stuff, and it was pretty impressive. But big question: is there a course designer in this game? There is in 2K, right? It's a big selling point of that game. Is there a course designer?
Yeah, being a course designer myself, this is obviously one of the questions that I wanted to see answered right away. The answer is no. No, there is no course designer, and I'll explain why. Well, two reasons. I asked this question to their lead producer, and they said, well, we asked people what they want, and they all said, we want the majors, and we want career mode. So that's what our focus was on, and the focus was not on the course designer. That is answer one. The second answer is, but this is more my reflection on what I've seen, is if you go and have 30 courses and go into that much detail to make them play like they play in real life, that doesn't really work well with a course designer where we don't know all these aspects. So then you would go back to having those two sliders that determine firmness and rollout. And that just takes away a lot of the features that you put into your gameplay that level of realism that they said to have included will not be in any user-created course, because you don't know how much what the grass type does, because we
Yep.
cannot determine that. So I think the game itself doesn't really lend itself very well to include a course designer, and well, the very simple answer was they focused on something else.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's a big. I know a lot of people from the 2K community have that question,
Yep.
and it's great to have that answered here. I know a little bit later on into the video, but you know, there's a talk about a lot of features, right? And that was one. People watching are probably like, oh, that probably doesn't have a course designer. It wasn't covered in the features section, and yeah, that is
Yep.
true. Now, we talk about next gen graphics. We talk about, it's a next gen game. We have all the Shotlink, we have all the data. Does it meet, from what you saw, does it fit your characteristic to be next gen only and not be on the last gen consoles? Does it really separate? We talk about 2K23. PGA 2K23 graphically does not look like a next gen game. When you compare it to NBA 2K23, that just looks real. So what is your rating of that just from the event and seeing everything?
Well, so this is really difficult to answer at this point in time, because what we can look at in detail are screenshots.
Yeah.
And I can make screenshots in the course designer of 2K23 that look awesome, and that
Exactly.
will make you think, oh, this has got to be next gen game. But when you're actually out on the course playing, seeing stuff close up, being in the middle of a gorse bush that all of a sudden looks really old and pixely, that is something that I didn't get to see, because the gameplay demo that they showed us, it was a stream, so I was not there. I was not watching it live on an actual screen. So yeah, it looks good pretty fast, because what I saw was like a low res version of the actual game. And when you lose the pixels, what remains is an image that looks pretty good, but you don't see all the details. Looking at the screenshots, it looks fabulous. But there was this screenshot of the 12th hole at Augusta, where I could see some, like the edge of the fairway looked a little off to me. So I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
We could be amazed. We could also be a little bit disappointed, but I'm just not sure at this point.
Yeah, and I know we probably, until we see it on our 4K monitors, even videos, when we see the gameplay trailer, and all this stuff, it's gonna, even on YouTube, it's gonna be compressed, right? So we really won't know until we get our hands on it. But just kind of want to touch. I know I received so many questions and comments on my past EA PGA Tour videos and my current 2K videos, especially announcing about the game, was like graphics, and everybody has this mindset that EA is going to knock it out of the park with graphics, and I actually share that same thing, to where I do think if they harness the power of the next gen, they could. I just really want to see more. But as we move on to Playable Pros, right? So there's Playable Pros in the games. You already talked about Shotlink, Trackman, how the pros swings and their trajectories, ball rollouts are true to life. But how many pros did they announce? Did they give a specific number? And what pros are in the game at launch?
So here's where I need to go to my notes again. And do you have a specific number? Because I didn't write that down here.
There was from what I saw, there was no specific number. Like, as far, they listed very few. And this was what I was surprised to see. They listed 30 courses, right? Yeah. And they went heavy on that, but they've kind of haven't announced a lot of their pros.
So what I have here is Nelly Korda, Scotty Scheffler, Tony Finau, Danielle Kang, Patrick Cantlay, Lexi Thompson, Jordan Spieth, and some player that's called more to be announced.
Okay, yeah, and that's
Oh
interesting to
wait,
see. Yep. Because that raises a lot of questions about will you be able to play against the pros, which probably is one of my most reported questions on my career mode videos from the past, or talking about EA games in general. People are like, I want to be able to play against the AI. I want to be in career mode. I want to be able to go head to head and see their shots.
yeah.
But if you don't have a big list, they can have the names on the leaderboards, all that. But if they don't have a big list of pros, we might not see that feature. Did they mention that at all to you?
No, they didn't actually,
Yeah.
and I agree that would be great. I mean, it would be really fun to be in a flight with either one of those players.
Yeah.
'Cause otherwise, it's just a name on a leaderboard,
Yeah.
and yeah. I mean, in real life, if you play in a flight, it affects the way you play. It affects
Yeah.
your enjoyment if you're in a flight with a not so nice person. That will affect the way you enjoy your
Yeah.
round of golf, and that might affect your golf game.
Yeah.
So that is obviously not something that you can emulate in a game. But for the feeling of realism, I think it would add if you would be able to play with two or one other player and actually see them shoot. On the other hand, isn't that something that you'll just really skip through really quickly because in the end you just want to play your own game and watching AI play? I don't know. Um, it's different from, for instance, racing in F1 because everything is real time, right? And this
Yep.
is more like golf is more a turn-based game in itself in real life as well. And I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's fun in multiplayer to see the other guy or
Yeah.
girl play, um, but that's an actual person somewhere in
Yeah.
the world sitting with a controller or a mouse playing the game. I don't know if I have the patience to wait for AI, actually.
Yeah, I actually do, but that's something that I
Mhm.
used to love about the EA games, right? Going head to head, the challenging another AI in hard difficulties, play either whether they're in the career mode and you're playing with them, seeing their shots. I think it adds a little bit or more authenticity. I don't think we'll see it in this game, but that's to be determined. We won't know that until probably launch. But I wanted to ask that question because I've received so many questions on it.
Yeah.
We don't have a true answer yet, but
Nope.
maybe. I would say
Just
probably
to
not.
touch on something I
Yeah.
said earlier. I said guy or girl.
Yeah.
There is actually in the My Player, you can create a male golfer, a female golfer. You can also create a gender neutral golfer. That is something
Yeah.
that they added in the game, and that is something that I think will attract a lot of people.
Yeah.
Have a different mindset when it comes to gender identity. I think it's great that they added that.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's great. The more options, the better to tailor to all audiences to get.
Yep.
That's awesome. Inclusion is huge. And speaking of more of inclusion, LPGA is included. You heard
It
some of the
is.
golfers, and you can actually
Yep.
play one of their big major tournaments in the game. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the Avion
Yeah.
tournament. That's one of the majors on the LPGA. Yeah, I think it's great, and I hope to see more of that in the future.
Me too.
I know 2K added female players to their list. EA has done the same. I think it's great. I mean, golf used to be a game that was mainly, at least the televised golf was mainly male oriented. We're seeing more and more women's golf on TV. We're seeing it more and more in the virtual
Yeah.
realm. Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
And I actually I actually prefer watching women's golf most of the time.
Yeah, more as you I know as you usually describe. You also report on that as well on a lot of women's golf tournaments, but it's the
Yeah.
more technicality of the swing and there's other mechanics. I know that's not what we're
Yep.
getting into right now, but yeah,
No.
I want to LPGA, PGA, all the customization options. I am all for. That is huge.
Yeah.
Now, when we get to a big feature for me is you said there's online ranked and that's huge. But a big thing that 2K has that I love is online societies. You could call this a country club from older EA games, where you have your community and a host runs community tournaments and you have standings and everything. Well, is there something like that in this game?
I've asked this question multiple times, and each time I didn't get a definitive answer, which kind of tells me that that it's probably not there.
Okay.
If it would be there, they would either two things might be the case. Either they are still working on it, but they don't want to market it yet, or it's not there and they're kind of evading the question because it creates negative attention. So the answer is no, but maybe.
Yeah. I think with you, when I think of marketing for games, if it wasn't marketed at their big preview event to go ahead and get it out there, my guess is probably a no, that it might be coming later or it might not ever be in there. Now, as we go to the big question I've received a lot, is there a golf ultimate team mode in the game?
They didn't announce it.
Yeah. So that was something
kind of goes back to the same.
Yeah. And that's something that surprised me because I was expecting a golf ultimate team mode. Not that I wanted it, but I was expecting it. And it wasn't in this event. And I know Daniel said there was no mention of ultimate team. So we don't know that yet. My preliminary answer would be probably not. Because in the deluxe edition, there was no mention of packs. And we know EA loves packs, right? To open packs, get new players.
Yeah.
And there was no mention of that in the deluxe edition. So that makes me think no ultimate team.
Yeah, agreed.
Now going into the presentation and commentary, as we getting close to the end here, who were their commentators? I know you said the overall graphical presentation and cameras we talked about that in the courses, but what was the commentary team and what was was it a TV presentation? Like you're at a golf event? Was it, I know it's hard, you didn't see much, but what did they talk about there?
Well, they quickly touched on this, and I wrote down the names as quickly as I could. So we have Iona Steven, Frank Nobilo. This is I actually didn't check if these names are correct. Noda Bigay, Rich Lerner, and this one I do know to be correct. Nick Faldo is in there. Yeah.
I'm excited to see kind of how they use that commentary team. I know you probably heard a few commentary lines in the. No,
I only heard Nick Faldo actually.
Okay.
So that one I know definitely to be in there.
Okay.
So, but it's a big team, and what's for me most important is how many lines are there. I mean, how many commentators is 5 commentators? Great, but if they all said 10 lines, then it's not going to be as elaborate as you probably want it to be. And that is something that they promise, is that for each situation, there's a different line. And I think this is where that presentation thing comes in, where if you are in that specific bunker, like maybe the road hole bunker on 17th on St. Andrews, which is a terrible bunker to be in, they will have something come up, somebody telling you a story about something that happened 5 years ago or maybe 30 years ago in that specific bunker. And that is something that will probably add to the feeling of being in that major event. What I'm curious about, what I'm anxious to see or to hear, better said, is standard situations. So if you're on the tee, will they eventually, like after maybe 30 rounds, will you get the same line over and over again? Because that is what makes me turn commentary off at a certain point. I know the commentary in the 2K games becomes very annoying to me after only 10 rounds, because you get that same line and not even the right one sometimes. I mean, they will tell you scored a birdie where you actually scored a bogey. There's nothing
Yep.
more off-putting to me than stuff like that. So yeah,
Yep.
usually I turn it off really quick. It would be a major accomplishment for them to not make me turn off commentary in that game.
Yeah, and you all, that bunker line he was talking about, don't worry, you all will hear that plenty of times on this channel, so be ready. We'll find that bunker plenty of times, the rough. You're going to see all the live stories from the commentators through me,
Only
most
if
likely.
you dedicate your shots.
That is true. Now, kind of moving on a little bit to swing inputs. This one surprised me. This one actually really surprised me. So, swing inputs is analog only at launch, and they're adding 3-click post launch, right?
Yep.
Did they say how long or did they just say post launch?
Yep.
I was really interested to see that, because 3-click was in Rory McIlroy. It was in, it was in the past games. I was surprised to see analog only at launch.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has something to do with ranked play, or if there's other specifics on that input type. Now, with the analog swing though, did it show, like, what was the indicator? Did it show, like, similar to 2K? It's a fast, it's a slow, like, swing plane. Like, what was, did you see that at all? Shot indicator? Did they talk about it?
I can really quickly go back to, just give me 1 second. So I'll tell you my theory on why that 3-click is coming later. I think they weren't done with it yet,
Okay.
basically.
Yep.
And they definitely need to publish before the Masters, right? So
Yeah.
this might have been something that they just said, okay, we'll just have to go with analog stick and add 3-click later. So I am looking at a screen right now. Unfortunately, I cannot share it because it's from that live stream. But I'm seeing a circle in the HUD, and there's a white line in the middle, which should all sound very familiar. Around your golfer, there is a half circle line that is also very similar to the 2K game. So it basically, it really looks kind of the same. There's a lie indicator. There is a foot lie indicator that tells you the degrees above or beneath your feet. There's an indicator that tells you which wedge you're using. There's a shot type indicator. There's a flag indicator. There's something that tells you the wind, obviously. So yeah, it's basically everything that you need. If you just really quickly show me this might as well be the 2K game, albeit slightly different. But yeah, it's the same features basically.
Yeah. So likely, similar mechanics: push, pull, fast, slow.
Yeah.
We'll see that as we see more. But I was really surprised to not see 3-click at launch specifically, because I know they'll probably have a lot of players who would use that swing type and not even like the analog swing. I personally enjoy the analog swing the most, but I know there's a lot of players that play the other way.
Yeah, me too.
But in-game currency was something that was mentioned. 1,500 points come with the deluxe edition. Was there a mention at what the premium currency, what you could buy with it? I would say probably no mention of any pay-to-win mechanics yet. Did you see potential red flags there?
Not really. From what I could see, I have seen a menu where you can spend those points, and this basically comes down to developing your player, customizing your gear, and all that. So my guess is that it will be pretty much the same as what we know from the 2K game. Maybe slightly different, but yeah. Not something that worries me in any way.
Okay. Yeah, and I know there's a lot of those questions out there. You all will have it pay to win. Most of these games, any game that has pay to win mechanics, it's never in marketing, right? So like we won't know until the game launches whether there is a red flag or pay to win mechanic. But it's important to note that there is points you can spend and there is no ultimate team. So what are you going to spend those points on? And, you know, he touched on skills and stuff. But whether there is pay to win mechanic, we don't know yet. But we will cover that when this game launches, which, of course, is March 24th, 2023. Early access, March 21st. EA Play Pro members get it included. If you're just a standard EA Play member, you can play 10-hour free trial starting on March 21st, 2023. And if you get the deluxe edition, you also get early access to Augusta National to play it. Did they talk about what that early access to Augusta National was? Like, is it early access to just play, like exclusivity to play the course before the Masters?
I think that it could be. I'm not sure, actually.
I was confused on that wording, the way they worded it. Even on the Xbox store, it says early access to Augusta National. I wasn't quite sure what they meant by that.
So what might be is that they said that the major courses are published around the time that the real life majors take place. Maybe Augusta is not instantly available
until the Masters tournament for most players.
Masters tournament.
Yeah, that's what I took the wording as. It didn't say that, but I took the wording as you can play it at launch if you have the digital deluxe edition or you're an EA Play Pro member. But if you just get the standard version, you probably won't be able to play Augusta National until Masters weekend, would be my guess.
Which would be a very smart and sneaky way of EA to pull some extra money out of your pocket.
Yep.
Because they know everybody wants to play the Masters.
Exactly. And you get the Players Championship gear, the Grand Slam gear bundle, a Scotty Cameron putter in game, 1,500 premium PGA Tour points, a PGA Tour experience bundle, and the Masters gear. So that is what you get in the deluxe edition of the game, which is the versions that we have listed, right, Daniel? Was there any mention of other versions of the game?
No.
All right, so today we covered so much information, everything we know so far on EA Sports PGA Tour, with even extra stuff in this interview, but this could never have happened without the legend Daniel Rahmans coming onto the channel in front of you all and telling us about the game, sharing his experience with us, and it was just big thank you to Daniel for that. Thanks for coming on, Daniel.
Hey, you're welcome, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, hey, it's a pleasure. Anytime. And everybody, you can find Daniel on Twitter. You can find him on Twitch. You can find him on YouTube. He's a course designer. He's a journalist. He really does it all. So where can they find you, Daniel?
So I am known as DR Golf Design for most people, I think. So DR_Golf Design on basically every platform that I'm on. Twitter, Discord, I'm on Twitch, I have a YouTube channel. I just posted an article on medium.com about 2K and how they treat their course designers. That's all also related to the EA game coming out really soon. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, and everybody. You all watched this interview to the end. I know this was a long interview, which is why I gave that disclaimer at the beginning, but we didn't want you all to miss out on any of the information. Like, we didn't want to shorten it. We wanted to cover every single thing that we knew, because that's what this video was about. If you stuck around, thank you so much. Drop a like if you got some enjoyment, subscribe for more, and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things EA PGA Tour leading up to its launch, and especially when we get our hands on the game on March 21st, 2023, or March 24th, 2023. An exciting year for golf fans. I'm so fired up for this game, especially after this interview with Daniel. Some exciting stuff here. If you have questions, leave them below, or comments, thoughts on it. But keep in mind, this was all we were able to cover at this point in time. There will be more to come and more information coming. So be on the lookout on the channel over these few months. But I will see you all in the next one. Big thank you to Daniel. As always, have a fantastic day, everybody.